already in. Oh.
In this video, I'll be showing you the basics to setting up a simple chick brooder. So if you have a large tote, that's the best to have because it allows the baby chicks to be under the light or to kind of move away from the light so that they can moderate their temperature. Here, just for size reference, this is a normal standard size tote, and that's the one I'm going to be using is this blue one. So you can see that it's larger to allow them to kind of move away from that lamp or get closer, depending on what they need for temperature. This was the brooder that I set up last year for 30 chicks using a dog kennel. I separated the two pieces and used Gorilla duct tape to hold the opening together and block the lower vent holes for safety. This is a great option for a larger flock of chicks. So we have the sawdust in. Depending on how old your chicks are, you're going to want just a thin layer of sawdust. And a lot of people use paper towels on top of that, or just paper towels for a couple days. But I'm thinking that these are going to be a little older. They've been at the store for a little while. And then you're going to want to pat it down firm so that they don't get stuck. Little baby chicks have a tendency to have problems getting stuck places. And so until they're a little older, we want to set them up for success and create an environment that's safe. So pat the shavings down nice and firm. So here's the feed and waterers. My kids have been very busy this morning washing them, cleaning up real good. They're very excited to get their chickens. So these are the waterers, and you just use a common canning jar, and they screw right into the top of this base that will hold water and allow more water to come out. So we have those for the water. And then these are the feeders, and you can also attach a jar to the top of these as well, but I have a tendency just to fill them as needed because baby chicks waste a lot of food. So I just fill them up a few times during the day, and then as they get older and waste less, sometimes I'll attach a jar for leaving or something for the day, but otherwise I just kind of fill them up halfway so they're not just wasting. I built this little square stand to use to keep the water on. It helps keep the shavings from getting all wet. You don't want the shavings all wet because it can make your chickens sick. So I embed it into the sawdust so that they can make it up onto the stand easily. And then we fill in all the way around very firmly with the shavings. Like here, I'm going to need to fill some more in so that nobody gets stuck. When they're little, those kind of things happen. And we'll fill in over here, but it keeps the area right around the water nice and dry. The other alternative that's, you don't want to build anything, and the hardwire cloth needs to be very tiny so their little feet don't fall through. The tiniest hardwire available. Otherwise you can use a piece of wood, that works as well. I'm going to set the food on that, but you could also set the water on it. It just kind of keeps your water cleaner and your sawdust less wet. You'll want to add some kind of pebbles or large marbles to the water because baby chicks fall asleep just about anywhere and they will drown. So we're going to be adding some larger rocks into their water so that they don't fall asleep with their head in it. So you just do that for the first couple weeks and you'll kind of know when they're a lot more spry and won't need that anymore. And I think this is what I'm going to do for the setup for the food and water to start. And then this will be their resting area. And so I'm going to be focusing the light over here. I've cut all the corners kind of out so that all the wire can bend around the top and it stays on pretty good and it comes off pretty easily. So that's our top. It's going to keep our baby chickies in. Out in our shed, this is the setup that we have. I suspended a 2x4 from the roof rafters, and then you want to be able to attach this piece to something solid. You don't want to attach by the cord, meaning you don't want to just tie the cord to something that's not safe. So you want to have this, and I double secure it with a twine string because these grips have a tendency to slide They don't grab as hard as you would like all the time, and if they get bumped, the heat lamp can slide around. So I double tie it with some twine, but making sure none of this flammable stuff is near the heat lamp. Even this shell gets pretty warm. I don't like anything, even the wood, to be touching it. You want it not touching anything. This is the biggest fire hazard, raising chicks. I have alternatives, which I'll make videos on those as well, that are more safe if you're concerned about the fire hazard. But this is what I'm using out in the shed. I'm pointing, if you notice, the heat away from the water and food. It's pointing over there, kind of towards that side of the little brooder here. If they're cold, they can go under it. If they get warm, they can go away. When they eat, it's fine. They can get cold a little bit. Then they're not hanging out, hopefully not sleeping by the water. They'll want to sleep where it's warm. They'll kind of sleep on the edge if it's too hot. And we'll just kind of see if we need to raise or lower the heat lamp. I have a video on setting the right temperature. You can check that out. And we're just warming up their little area for them before we go get them.